Saya McDermott is a graphic designer by trade. She then became a pilot for a few years. Obvious career change. Now she's building a skincare business that's taking off.
Not that long ago, Panasonic came to us. They wanted to do a gift with purchase. They only gave us...
How did Panasonic find little Saya skincare in an industrial estate in Noosa?
They saw us on social media.
It's the award-winning Small Business Big Marketing Show thanks to American Express.
Yeah, I said, welcome to a small business marketing show where successful small business owners share their souls to take your marketing straight to the lead. Now, here's your host, Mr. Timbo Reid.
And welcome back to your weekly dose of marketing madness. I'm your host, Timbo Reid. You, infinitely more importantly, you're a motivated business owner and you are ready to crank out some great marketing to build that beautiful business of yours into the empire it deserves to be. Today's 432nd episode is made possible thanks to American Express, and if you want to see how your business expenses can reward you, I suggest after this episode's finished, Google Amex Business. Today we're joined by ex-pilot Saya McDermott, whose eczema gave her no choice but to start her own skincare business. UK listener Tony Rogers shares some one-percenters that are making all the difference in his business. I've got some enthusiastic feedback from listener Robert on how Design Crowd got him a logo of his dreams, and you're cordially invited to listen to this week's Jingle of the Week. There's a hint in there, cordially. Not a great hint, but a hint nonetheless. As per usual, team, there is marketing GOLD dripping from the ceiling over here at Small Business Big Marketing's HQ. So let's get stuck right in. Okay, let's meet Saya McDermott. We cover plenty of ground in this chat as Saya talks about the importance of following your passion, the power of creating a strong visual brand, why she set up shop in an industrial estate, how she generates sales across a number of different channels, online, retail, wholesale, and plenty more. I give you Saya McDermott. Now, here's what I like about you and your business. You've been a graphic designer and a pilot. You created the business out of a personal problem, which is eczema. Mm-hmm. 4 years on, you've got 40 SKUs. You sell via online wholesale to pharmacy, health food stores. You've got your own store. You've got amazing visual branding and you employ other people. Yet you said to me in our pre-interview yesterday that your story, and I quote, isn't that interesting? Goodness me. Yeah. So, Saya, I want to crack a deal with you, all right? For the duration of our chat, I want you to pretend that you've achieved something amazing, something really interesting. Deal?
Mm-hmm. Deal.
Sure?
I can do that.
Good on you. Because there's a lot of frustrated business owners out there who would kill for a modicum of your success, okay? So that's why we're here, and that's why this show exists. All right, so graphic designer out of school with a skincare side hustle.
Yes.
Simply because you had eczema, right?
Yeah, it was very frustrating being a teenager, or even before I became a graphic designer, being a teenager and just suffering from eczema, breakouts, sensitive skin. It was a real problem for me. And I guess Mum and Dad spent an absolute fortune probably trying to help me solve my problem, and I just couldn't find a skincare product out there that was really solving what I wanted and, what I required. So one day, just out of the blue, I went to your Monday markets and I found this stall, just stumbled upon it, and they were making skincare products. And so I gave it a go. I had nothing to lose. And it actually solved my problem. And that's where I sort of fell in love with natural skincare. And one day I came back to the Monday markets. This is probably after about 12 months of just regularly using the products. They weren't there and they never came back.
Oh, how sad.
It was absolutely devastating to me because I felt like I was back to square one. So that's what really inspired me to start researching how to make skincare, because I knew the formulations. I used to, study the back of the ingredients list and be fascinated on how simple it was, yet how effective it was for me.
So, a bit of a side hustle. You're making it for yourself at the age of 17 for however long, and being a graphic designer, working for a corporate, right?
Yeah, I after leaving high school, I was always making skincare on the side. But after leaving high school, I did a uni degree, did graphic design. Not sure really what I wanted to do, but I loved art and creating, and so I did the degree and started there. And
So you're a graphic designer for a few years. You got the skincare on the side hustle, fixed your eczema, and then you decide to leave at least graphic design behind and become a pilot.
Yeah, so I always loved aviation. And I really just wanted to.
What'd you love about it?
I don't know. I guess it's in my blood, maybe.
Dad's a pilot.
Yeah. So at least I wanted to just accomplish getting my private license, pilot's license. And one day, well, actually on my birthday, Mum and Dad were generous enough to buy me 5 hours of training, flight training. And I think I was about 26 or 27.
What's your dad doing buying your flight training? He's a pilot, can't he do it?
Yeah, no, he taught me, he at least tried to teach me how to drive a car, and that didn't go so well.
Okay.
So,
Hello to your dad.
Yes. So I did that, and I absolutely fell in love with it, and I completed my private licence, and then I decided to go on and do my commercials. So.
Wow. You're one motivated young lady, or were, probably still are, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So you become a full-time pilot. Skincare's happening, and then at some point you decide, I'm not going to be a pilot anymore. You are going to focus on building Saya Skincare. So is that a big decision? It feels like a big decision.
Well, yeah, it definitely was, because I was very hesitant in taking the business to the next step. I was, unsure, and to be honest, I didn't even know how to do it.
What was the feeling then? That you go, well, I've got this product. It is so good. It's worked for me. I need to let the rest of the world know about it. Was it an overpowering feeling of that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I felt like I was pretty intrigued as to how far we could go. And considering I hadn't, really put 100% of my energy into it, and yet it was building momentum. It was, we were picking up stockists regularly. We got into a couple of local pharmacies, and of course those pharmacies are quite often owned by large groups, so then their product would go well, and then they'd roll our products out into all their other pharmacies.
As a pilot, you'd be an analytical person. You wouldn't be a risk taker at all, I would have thought. So what learnings did you bring across from your flying days into starting a small business?
Well, I guess being a pilot, well, even just going through the training, you have to be disciplined and you have to know what you're doing. You can't go half.
No mistakes being a pilot.
Yeah, no. Well, otherwise it doesn't work out so well. But I guess it gives you determination, it gives you dedication, and that's what comes with running a business too. You have to be committed to doing it. You can't do it. I guess if you want to grow, you can't do it half, halfway kind of thing. So I guess that's what gave me the determination to, keep doing what I was doing and realise what I'd created.
Because running a business does involve risk. I mean, some of the business owners I've spoken to are happy to take risks without a lot of consideration. They just operate off a gut feel. Others look at things from every different angle, upside down, sideways, left, right. Is that you?
I wouldn't say like don't think I'm, not a risk taker whatsoever, to be honest. I go off a gut feeling, and I'm very much, if something doesn't feel right, I'm not going to do it.
Wow.
And that's, that's how I've always been.
Yep.
But I've always had like a strong support from my family that, my dad's a bit of an entrepreneur. Well, he's definitely an entrepreneur. Like, he's taken some massive risks, and
I think we need to get your dad onto the show, from what I hear.
Yeah, I think so. He's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But I guess he's given me the drive, and there's been a lot of days where you second guess yourself, and you're not so sure of what you're really doing, and am I this little fish in the big sea kind of thing. And it can be overwhelming, but...
It is competitive. I mean, what industry isn't? What category
Yeah,
isn't competitive
this is
these
true.
days? But cosmetics in particular. We used to just have the big brands, right? The Cliniques and the
Yeah.
whatever else of the world.
Yeah.
And now we've got these little niche brands.
Yeah.
I suppose as a business owner of a cosmetic business, you can't... It's not cosmetic, it's skincare. But you can't really look at the industry like that, can you? Otherwise, you just freak out. So how do you kind of niche yourself down to appeal to a certain group of people?
Well, I guess it's quite different from when I started, because when I did start, over 10 years ago, it was just the Cliniques, it was the
Yes.
big brands, L'Oreal and all, it was...
The toxic brands, eh?
Maybe.
I said that, you didn't.
You said that. But I guess with the social media aspect now, it's such a big playing field, because people are on Instagram, they're seeing these brands and go, oh, maybe I could do that. There's a lot of competition, more so now than ever has been before.
It's interesting. Do you think social media alone is responsible for this niching down of brands? I see it in beer, right?
Yeah.
Craft beers, God,
Yeah.
it's not a dissimilar industry where
Yeah.
used to be the big brands, and now we've just got these tiny little breweries.
Yeah, well, it enables you to reach out to a massive audience. It's pretty cheap marketing in the scheme
Yeah.
of things. Instead of, we back in the day used to invest, a few thousand into being like a little advert in a magazine, but now you invest that into social media.
Yeah, social media is a cheap way of marketing a business. It can also be pretty frustrating. I mean, there's a lot of kind of business owners out there I know that probably go in thinking social media is a silver bullet. It's going to fix everything, whereas actually it won't. You've got to get it right.
And even people that think, oh, yeah, we can do this and just launch a website and just sit there and wait for the orders to come through.
Were you ever like that?
No. We started off really just, doing the groundwork, and tapping on everyone's doors and going, would you try these products? And really established our customer base from that, going into real solid retail stores. It wasn't until probably 5-6 years ago that the Instagram, Facebook advertising and we get a lot of new customers, or when I say customers, wholesale accounts through our Instagram.
Wow. With posts that are directed at wholesalers, or they're just seeing what you're doing for the user and going, we want some of that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Off and away.
Yeah.
I used to work on the Yellow Pages business many, many, many years ago when it was actually a pretty big brand. And we had often, yearly budget was about $20 million for advertising. And we had to appeal to the user of the book. Do you remember the book?
Yeah.
You're much younger than me. And the advertiser who was paying the bills to be in the book, right, to Yellow Pages. And often we would always do this research to find out, should we spend money on the advertiser campaign or the user campaign? The advertisers would always say, just spend the money getting people to use the book. Similar to what you're doing, where the wholesaler's probably going, don't advertise to us, just advertise to the user.
Yeah.
And if there's enough people using it and coming into the store going, do you sell Saya, then we'll stock it.
Yeah.
Thanks to American Express, we're chatting with Saya Skincare founder, Saya McDermott. Can you remember the moment when Saya Skincare really took off, where you looked your business partner or your partner in the eye and gone, hey, hang on, I think we're onto something here?
Yeah, well, I think it was only just a few years ago, and I guess when I decided to take a big step back from the flying career that I thought I was probably going to do, and when I realised that our sales had not just doubled, they'd 3 times, 4 times over, just over in 12 months. Like, it was pretty amazing. And it was predominantly to do with the accounts that we'd got just by going around to all the local pharmacy groups, and before we knew it, we weren't just on the Sunshine Coast, we were in Brisbane, Gold Coast.
Was there a little campaign you did, or was...
We've been quite fortunate. One of the big pharmacy groups that we're with, actually their headquarters are just around the corner from us. So their main buyers found us and seen us around.
Wow.
Yeah, and I guess that's what's unique about growing up and being in Noosa. you do have a lot of, visitors from Melbourne, Sydney, everywhere from around Australia and overseas.
It is a good point. I mean, Noosa, as geographically, it attracts people from everywhere.
Yeah.
And often people with money and or influence. And you've seen that happen.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Yeah. So it's kind
Everyone
of...
needs to come and set up a business in Noosa.
Oh, yeah. No,
Actually, probably
please.
don't.
No, don't.
You seem very laid back.
Yeah,
Well, you are laid
uh,
back.
Yeah. Well, there is a plan behind everything. And,
Is there?
But, yeah, we've just been...
Sort of whiteboard plan? Is it,
Yeah,
is
pretty
it
much.
on paper or is it in your head?
in my head.
Right. Good. I like a plan that's in your head.
Well, so far it's worked out. So we're just...
Is it just in your head or do you share it? Or you're a control freak?
Oh, I am definitely in a control freak,
Right.
yes. But not so much. But I know what I want to do, and I do have a really good team behind me now that have the same thinking as what I do. So it really does work.
How many on the team?
We've got 4 at the moment, but we're trying to get a couple more on board, yes.
How do you bring the team along for the ride? How do they buy into what you're doing?
It's just choosing the right people, I guess. And when you interview them, you kind of know straight away. Well, at least I do. There's definitely been some fails with employing people.
Peanuts?
Well, they're just not of the same mindset, and it just doesn't work.
From an outsider looking in, and I visited your store yesterday, we've got beautiful products sitting in front of us here. Want to talk about your branding shortly. I reckon what you've done is create truly an emotional attachment, which is what a brand is, right?
Yep.
And you're probably attracting people who really want to work for Saya.
Yeah. No, I definitely
They'd be very
get that.
proud to work for you.
Yeah, and excited because I guess we're still, in the growing stages of the business. We've got some exciting things coming up. We've been invited through Austrade to go over to the Hong Kong conference and learn all about the Asian market and getting into that. And
How'd that come about?
through a mutual friend, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she had a product that wasn't that marketable for Asia.
That could go
so she
nuts.
kind of, and it does have the absolute potential to.
If you go to Hong Kong and get a decent contract, which over there, even a small contract would be a decent contract in Australian context.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you going to do? Let's just role play that one for a minute.
Well, at least I've got my manufacturing underway,
Yes.
and we can potentially, service massive orders. We did.
Right, so there's capacity there.
Our capacity was
Cool.
there, and that gives me confidence in our brand because in those early days when we were manufacturing, and then we actually had a local manufacturer helping us out, he couldn't, fulfill our orders. I've got well, they're in Brisbane, but I've got a really close relationship with them. Not that long ago, Panasonic came to us. They wanted to do a gift with purchase. They only gave us...
How did Panasonic find little Saya skincare in an industrial estate in Noosa?
I know.
How?
I don't know.
Really? You didn't ask?
They saw us on social media.
Wow.
And they approached us. They asked us, could we do this? They wanted to do a gift with purchase of the Panasonic men's shaver.
That's incredible. But you think about it, go back to the competitive nature of your industry. They could have chosen so many.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess someone at Panasonic was using your product. Being to Noosa.
Yeah, well, probably, yeah. The girl she was working for a marketing agency, obviously, for Panasonic, and she'd used my products before. She'd been in Noosa, and had seen our products. And basically, she gave us a budget, and it was 10,000 units. And fortunately enough, we had, a small men's range as well. So we said, we can do this for this price, which was within their budget.
Yeah.
And yet they had an awful deadline, which was only 4 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
So that was probably where I came off quite well, is because I've got such a good relationship with my manufacturers, and they said, okay, we're going to do this. I had to pay the 50% for the manufacturing before they even put their purchase order through. So I just thought, well, if this doesn't go through, I'm going to have a lot of product.
It's a similar story. A past guest, Daniel Flynn, who's created a brand called Thank You. You might have seen Thank You Water, Thank You Baby Products, all that kind of stuff. He's been on the show a couple of times, and he too created a problem and then needed to solve it, which
Yeah.
I think is a great idea. It's a bit like, having a tax. It's a good problem to have. If you've got a big order and then you don't know how to service it, well, we figure out how to service it later. But, I wonder whether more business owners should go out there and try and create the problem, get the really big order, and then figure out how to service it instead of kind of playing in the kind of micro level.
Yeah. Well, I guess I remember distinctly one of the girls that worked for me at the time when that came through, she said, they're giving us 4 to 6 weeks. Like, there's no way we're going to be able to do that. And I said, well, hold on. Let's think about this.
Just to take a little step back, darling.
Let's just see how we can
Saya says we will.
Yeah. And then we'll worry about it later.
Good on you.
Yeah, we literally did it, and there was only a couple of days in between it. Like, it was, a few sleepless nights and thinking, is this going to happen? But it did.
Going back into a bit of pilot talk, any turbulence along the way? Because when I talked to you yesterday, you said sometimes I felt like I was getting nowhere and all the hard work wasn't paying off.
In the start, and for a long time, yeah, I thought, well, it's cash flow, like starting a business, starting a brand, like just even people recognising you and wanting to buy your product. It's a hard thing to do.
It's massively hard.
Yeah.
And I look at your category is, again, how does anyone tell the difference? I think branding must be super, super important.
Yeah.
But then once you see past the branding, and I'm being naive here, like, how do you go, that's an unreal soap or that is an unreal hand and body lotion? Is it about the smell?
Yeah, I think it's about the smell. It's the quality of the product. I
wouldn't have a clue.
Using the products, like just the smell is really important to me. Like, I love fragrance and that's part of like the thing I love to do is blending essential oils and creating unique scents. And that's what sells the product. As soon as, they feel and smell the product, they love it.
Mm-hmm. So what is your point of difference?
We focus on using a lot of the Australian native botanicals in our products as well.
We had a fellow on the show about 3 years ago. His name was Paul Greenberg. He heads up the National Online Retailers Association, NORA. Anyway, he has a great relationship with Amazon. And Amazon once said to him, one of the most unmet searches on Amazon is Australian products. So if there's an Ugg boot that is made from Australian sheep wool, it'll sell like hotcakes.
Even the American market,
Yes.
like our botanicals are pretty unique and they've been able to withstand the harsh Australian environment and they've built up these properties inside them that we can put into a skincare product and it helps protect the skin just like it helps protect that plant.
Here's a money-making tip from American Express member and Four Pillars Gin founder, Stu Gregor.
I, for the life of me, don't understand why a business won't accept Amex because what you're potentially doing is knocking back customers who want to spend money on your product or your brand or your service or whatever it is. And I frankly don't understand it. If someone wants to give me their Amex and buy 10 bottles of gin, I tell you what, I'll take their Amex, thanks very much. You're potentially also denying yourself a big chunk of corporate business as well. Because a lot of sales guys, I know me, in my own business, I use Amex. And if I ring to make a booking at a restaurant or a bar or something, I say, do you accept Amex? And they say no, I go somewhere else. So they don't even know the business they're missing out on. It beggars belief. And I often find myself having these rather awkward conversations at the with a shopkeeper or a bar owner or a restaurateur saying, why wouldn't you take it? I'll pay you the extra. I'll pay 1.5, the credit card service fee or whatever you want. Take my money.
It's Business 101, really. Make it easy for people to give you money. Speaking of money, the American Express Business Explorer credit card comes with 50,000 bonus points every year, a low interest rate, and 2 points on every dollar you spend. Not to mention a couple of tickets to the very swish Amex Lounge at Sydney International Airport. Search Amex Business to find out more. New American Express card members only. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm Timbo Reid, and you're listening to the award-winning Small Business Big Marketing Show, thanks to American Express. How well can you describe your ideal customer? Do you know her? I'm guessing it's a her.
Yeah.
Do you know her intimately?
Do we know them intimately?
Beyond demographics, beyond she's an 18 to 25-year-old girl who...
Our customer base is quite diverse. I've been serving most of, like, in the early days until now in the shop as well, serving our customers that have been with me from day dot, and they ranged from 25 to 65. And they're from, quite well off to, just day to day. And they're the ones that are, they're interested in obviously using natural and organic skincare, but they also want results, and we give that to them.
You haven't traded off the eczema thing at all to say if you've got eczema, this is the product for you?
Well, that becomes like a TGA subject. I just tell them my story and what my results have been. Obviously, sometimes it won't work for everyone, but I'm always quite confident in directing them to the products to use. Yeah.
You've opened your own store as well, which I went to yesterday. I think it's absolutely magnificent. I thought when I saw it, it was going to be you'd sort of done it as a trial sort of concept store to then take around the place. You said no. It's just a little one-off for you to...
Well, we needed a bigger space, and we just moved into the bigger space, and we need an office and a packing area and storage, and it makes sense to just have a small shop front out there. We're there filling orders. We're there all the time. So
you're literally at the back of an industrial estate, and it's such a movement of these kind of groovy brands moving in amongst tiling workshops and panel beaters.
I know.
It's really, I mean, you've got a fashion shop next to you. I think across the road was something else. There's a pinball parlour. There's a very cool brewery.
Yeah.
In fact, almost the word industrial estate is defunct.
I know.
Days.
Well, now it is. It was a pretty daggy when I first moved
Was
in.
it?
Yeah.
The primary idea was more storage, warehousing, distribution.
Yeah.
What has the shop brought to the business? It's another way to sell.
The retail
shop.
it's another way to sell. Yeah, absolutely. And it also helps showcase our product and how we display our product.
It makes the brand real. I had the girls from Spell and the Gypsy Collective, that brand down in Byron, on the show, and they too, they're doing $20 million, $30 million online, but just having that one store is actually a destination. People from all over the world. It's a pretty cool store, as far as I could tell, being a bloke.
Yeah.
But it's like it all of a sudden just makes that brand a little bit more real, and people love to kind of visit.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And especially, where we are now, and the brewery's open, and there's quite a few
Penny parlour,
awesome stores. Yeah.
I bought a sit-down space inverters machine from there
last
week.
Oh, my goodness.
Grow up, Timbo. Pricing. I don't talk about pricing much on the show because it freaks me out a bit. Does it freak you out?
Yeah. No, not really. We work off pretty reasonable margins, I would say. We want to keep the product affordable for everyone.
Pricing's a weird thing
in your industry. It's a very difficult thing, yeah.
Because what am I holding here? Say a balanced moisturiser. Bloody beautiful packaging.
Yeah.
If it was $100, I'd go, it must be amazing. It's a weird way us humans think, right? How much is this?
That is $35. Mm-hmm.
See, has it been a challenge for you to not price expensively?
It has, absolutely, because some retail stores, comparing our pharmacies to some of our cosmetic-specific retailers, there is a real crossover there where the pharmacy customer only wants to spend that amount of money and finds it actually quite a big investment. To our cosmetic retailers, their average price is probably about $80 for a moisturiser. Mm-hmm. So, we're up there competing against them. But there is that niche there that people want an affordable product.
Would it be fair to say that, those that are charging $200 for the same similar product, it's not costing them any more to make?
I wouldn't like to say that.
Then don't. Marketing-wise, so you've suggested social media has been fantastic for you. Have you used social influencers at all?
Yeah, we're very careful with the influencers we use. It's definitely gone quite crazy with the influencers, and it's sort of diluted how effective they are.
You mean the world of social? Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
It's kind of, everyone's an influencer now.
Absolutely.
Hashtag sponsor.
Yes, hashtag ad.
Give me a break. Yeah. David Beckham's doing it. Everyone else is doing it.
Exactly.
Right. So how do you manage that?
Well, we just choose the right ones, and we don't like to pay for them at all. We just like to
hashtag tight ass.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. No, but we want them to use the product, and if they really like the product, then we can, negotiate what we're going to do in terms of payment or whatever.
Product.
Exactly. We send out a lot of product to influencers, but the ones that we love and the ones that have got the same, philosophy as or at least have the same sort of beliefs and, have the same sort of feel to our brand.
Who would be the most successful influencer you've partnered up with?
We went with Elle Ferguson, which is quite a lot. She's very, she's a blogger. She's more fashion, but she's in with the natural, organic she has that organic bohemian style. She's a really influential girl. Like, she worked with the Spell Girls before, and she does that regularly as well. But she's actually a prime example of us just sending product.
Explain how that works for the listener. So you've sent product, you've identified Elle Ferguson as someone who you would love to shout out about your product on her social channels. Mm-hmm. So you send a product, because she's a blogger. So you wanted to blog, or do you wanted to just post a photo?
Post. She's great at stories and
Right.
the Instagram. She's got a fabulous following on Instagram. So also a Spell girl who owns one of the twins.
Lizzie?
Yeah. She uses our foaming facial cleanser. It's one of her favourites. And she just, randomly does a shout out to us. And
awesome.
It's amazing, like the following we get from it and the orders that we get from those one stories.
You see sales directly from a post like that, online?
Online.
Right. You've got a new social influencer here, Saya. I'm going to go home and try the detox face exfoliant.
Yes, I hope you do.
There's a lot of work to be done here, so... You're blogging. I noticed you've got a bit of an interview strategy happening on your blog where you go and find people that you ask a series of questions to.
Yeah, so we...
Nice, easy way of blogging.
Yeah. Well, we don't like to be too sell with our emails and, with our customers. So we like to source out, especially local entrepreneurs or last one we did with a dietitian, and just sort of question, Q&As, and it's just helping, being more educational and sort of informing our customer.
Being helpful.
Yeah, being helpful.
Tell me about the avoiding sell, because, again, lots of business owners who you just want to sell. You just want to say, buy from me.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Whereas my view, and clearly yours, is you should tell.
Yeah.
Tell more, tell stories, help, and the sales will come.
Yeah.
Do you find that hard? Do you find like you have to sit on your hands and bite your tongue to
for me, I don't, because I'm not really that way inclined. But I know I'm that customer. I don't want to be aggressively sold to, I guess.
Where do you want to see Saya Skincare in 5 years' time?
Oh, I'd love to be able to get it into the Asian market in distributors. We're talking to an agent over in America, so I'd really like to expand there. We're in a couple of really good stockists in New York and Tribeca, and also the Hamptons. I'd really like to expand and explore that market.
You mentioned like 2 or 3 of the biggest suburbs in the world. Do you now feel like you have an interesting business?
Yes. Thank you.
Don't thank me. I thank you. I think it's a really inspirational story. I feel like you're... feels like maybe not day one, but it's early days.
Yeah, I feel like
the upside's huge.
Yeah. There's some massive opportunities that we've got coming up, so I'd really like to see how that all unfolds.
Do you have 100% ownership?
Yes.
You want to hold on to that?
Yes. Yeah. I've had discussions with friends, and they think, maybe you should, get someone in to invest, because I guess running a small business, it's cash flow and everything, and sometimes it would be great to have a helping hand, but I'm too independent to know that I don't think that would work, and I 100%.
Hashtag control freak, really. Saya, love your work. Thanks for coming in and sharing it.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to try the product and look beautiful.
Thanks so much.
Well, there you go, team. Saya McDermott, the founder of Saya Skincare. I enjoyed that. You can check out her entire product range, her branding, her blog over at Saya, Saya, skin.com.au. wholesale.com. Hey, be sure to hang around after my top 3 attention grabbers as we hear from UK listener Tony Rogers, who's integrating some little 1%ers in his business, and they're making a nice little impact. But first, my top 3 attention grabbers from that chat with Saya, thanks to our mates at American Express. Attention grabber number 1. I loved Saya's relaxed nature in the way she approaches her business. I get business is stressful. I get that there's always things to do. I get that there's deadlines. But Saya has a certain way about her that I think other business owners could kind of borrow from. Attention grabber number 2. Love Saya's blogging strategy. Didn't spend a lot of time on it in that chat. Go and have a look at it over at sayaskin.com. She's interviewing a lot of people. That's a really easy way to create content. It's helpful, and she gets to learn along the way. That is the boomerang effect in action, if you've read my book. Attention grabber number 3. I love her branding. Beautiful, beautiful branding. I've got it all sitting here in front of me. It really is quite delightful. I'm a sucker for a strong visual brand. So here's the thing. No matter what industry you're in, I don't think there's any excuse for not having great visual branding. It just, we're visual creatures. Aesthetic things, nice aesthetic things appeal. And if you don't want to spend a whole lot of dough and get a good result, then go to designcrowd.com/Timbo. That's what grabbed my attention. Love to know what grabbed yours. Head over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/432.
Come on down. It's Timbo's Monster Prize Draw.
Oh yes, indeedly, doodly, it is time to reward another motivated listener for taking some swift marketing action in the Monster Prize Draw. Today's winner is, insert drum roll, Tony Rogers from Grey to Black Photography. Tony is based in the UK and he shares this. He says, "Hey Timbo, hey Tone, I've been listening, learning and loving the show from Tunbridge Wells in the UK since 2013. Oh, Tone, that gets me a little bit emotional, mate. I love the sound of the Where You Live. It's clearly out of the Faraway Tree book. And you've been listening for 5 years. How's my maths going? I really appreciate that." Tony goes on to say, "I think the best marketing strategy that I've been able to put to good use is the 1%ers. If that's a word, yeah, it is. It's our word, Tony. Shared within episode 205 and Josh Nichols' 21-step process. Yeah, very popular interview that I continue to reference every now and then. Whilst I don't have a 21-step process, I also keep in mind the small differences I can make to keep my customers happy and offer the best service that I can." Very important if you're a photographer, because that is a crowded marketplace. These consist of small things such as thanking them for their commission, delivering a little bit extra than briefed, replying and delivering quickly, endeavouring to answer their questions before they ask them. It's good. Get a little crystal ball for that. Checking the dress code before a shoot, and the most important, turning up exactly on time. Too early is annoying, and too late is unforgivable. As always, Timbo, thanks for the good marketing, GOLD. Best regards, Tony. Tony, I love the fact that you listen, learn, but most importantly, because this is what this segment's all about, the Monster Prize Draw, you are implementing. You're taking action. So well done, buddy. Being in the UK, I don't have any prizes to send over to you, but I have 2 good things. Some promotion of your business, which is Grey 2, the number 2, blackphotography.com. I've checked out that website, Tony. You have got some beautiful, beautiful photography on there. Well done. And I'm going to put a backlink on my website back to your website that has got a lot of Google juice about it. That's the Monster Prize Draw, guys. If you would like to enter, send me an email, tim@timreid.com.au, telling me just one idea you've implemented from listening to this show, what impact it's had on your business. If I read it out on air, you will win some prizes. If you're in Australia, I can send them to you, or New Zealand, and go into the draw to win a hot lap in a racing Porsche with past guest and racing car legend Steve Richards, who, guess what, won Bathurst on the weekend. Hello. I sent him a cheeky text yesterday. I said, "Hey, Steve, how's things?" What'd you do on the weekend? Oh, I'm silly. That's valued at $2,500, and that will go to the winning letter. So get onto it. Send me an email, tim@timreid.com.au. While we're on the topic of great visual branding, as Saya was talking about earlier, and I did mention Design Crowd, I've got some feedback from listener Robert Wheeler, who has a business called the Rapid Recovery Room. Check that out. It's kind of where you go and get injected with vitamins and minerals if you've got a hangover or if you're crook or something. Interesting. He's got a rather bit of passionate feedback about his use of Design Crowd, who are another supporter of the show. He says, Timbo, I just wanted to say thank you for recommending Design Crowd. We'd never used them or even heard of them until you. Recently, we decided we needed to spiff up our logo. We got 2 quotes from local marketing firms, one for $2,500, the other for $3,500. We can't afford that, he says. Get onto Design Crowd, entered the Timbo promo code. That is the promo code, Timbo. Got $100 off and ended up paying only $258 for 150 logo designs. And then we shortlisted and asked for changes to some of them 3 or 4 times. We're not just happy, Timbo, with what we got. We're shocked. Love it. You should really ram that service down listeners' throats. More people need to try that service. It's amazing. Robert Wheeler, Rapid Recovery Room. I love getting feedback on my sponsors, Robert. Thank you, buddy. For all those who would like a bit of what Robert's got in terms of logo or graphic design or whatever you need design, basically, head over to designcrowd.com/Timbo. Enter the promo code Timbo. And in fact, you don't need to do that because you've just gone to /Timbo, and that'll get you $100 off your first brief. Righto, it's time for the advertising jingle of the week. This one's from 1989. It's for Cotty's Cordial. In fact, I was working at the advertising agency that produced this little gem.
Kids deserve Cotty's Cordials. Cotty's, with the great taste of 25% fruit juice.
The great taste of 25% fruit juice. Yeah, right. How about instead the great taste of 18 tablespoons of sugar in every glass? That would probably make more sense. As I said, I was working at the advertising agency that produced that ad, but I wasn't sugar conscious back then. Bloody marketers, all liars. Who said that? You can watch the actual ad over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/432 if you're interested. And if there's a jingle you reckon worthy of this segment, or maybe you've got a jingle for your own business, I'd love to hear that, then let me know via Twitter at Timbo Reid, R-E-I-D. Whew, well, that almost wraps up another episode of the Small Business Big Marketing Show, sponsored by who? Hey? That's right. Amex, American Express. Search Amex Business to find out how your business expenses can reward you. Don't forget there is an entire back catalogue of interviews over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com. If you love the show, then let another business owner know about it by grabbing their phone out in the street, opening the podcast app and downloading it for them. Until next week, I am Timbo Reid. Have always been that way, always will be. Thanks for tuning in. May your marketing be the best marketing. Bye for now.